Cowes Week on the Isle of Wight. Year in and year out, it is Europe's principal yachting regatta and a top event in the social calendar. To millions of people, the island can be summed up in those two words, Cowes Week. They think it never changes, yet its race results are now worked out by computer, so it does change, slowly, just as the Isle of Wight itself changes. There are many things people link with the Isle of Wight, particularly holidays. Some folk believe that the sun's stronger down there. The island's also noted for the Needles, which next to the White Cliffs of Dover are probably the most famous landfall on the coast of Britain. It gets into the headlines too over Parkhurst, for years one of Britain's largest prisons. And now a new top security prison is being built on the Newport Road, right next door to the old one. Over the years, thousands of people have known the island through the Chest Hospital near Ventnor. This is now closed, a sign of man's conquest of one of his most dreaded diseases. To trainloads of holidaymakers who come over on the boats from Portsmouth, the Isle of Wight starts at Ryde. These new arrivals are some of the Overners, as the Isle of Wight native calls all people from the mainland. They come over as day trippers. They come on a holiday, or they come even to retire. After 50 years, they'll still be Overners, and they'll still be welcome. And after 50 years, they'll still be in love with the island, with its holiday carnival weeks that are much the same as they've been for ages. It's all a mixture of the very modern and of Victoriana. And in the processions, it's mostly the slogans that change. But behind the carnivals, life moves on. The island today is a centre for important light industry. Take the hovercraft. In some things, the Isle of Wight moves not so much with the times as in front of them. The first regular hovercraft passenger run has been opened between the mainland and Ryde. One day, it may also carry cars. Right now, it carries Overners, pleased to be pioneer travellers on a new form of transport. And there's something very apt about all this, for the hovercraft is an Isle of Wight product. It's made here. It came to life in East Cowes, opposite the yacht basin. And it's here that these revolutionary craft are put together on a site where Britain once built some of its most advanced flying boats. Yes, the aviation industry flourishes at Cowes, a long step from the genteel image of the island in Queen Victoria's day. Two of the young men behind that local hovercraft ferry service are John Britton and Desmond Norman. They have their workshops at Bembridge Airfield. Among other things, they do research on the design of hovercrafts, and they've made a name for themselves providing flying crop sprayers all over the world. They have 70 small aircraft working this service abroad. Now they've built a 10-seater airliner, aptly called the Islander, which they'll sell for less than £20,000. This is the prototype. Already, they have firm orders for the first 20 and 200 inquiries. To them, the future of the aviation industry looks bright indeed. Yes, on its industrial side, the island is certainly changing. 30,000 of its 95,000 inhabitants are workers, a third of them in light industry. Cowes has an important radar factory, employing nearly 1,000 islanders. In some weeks during the season, there'll be 80,000 holidaymakers on the island, almost doubling its population. On the headlands and the quiet beaches, you might hardly notice them. Yet more than 5,000 islanders work in the holiday business, so vital to their prosperity. Something else that's new, the Holiday Centre, which might be called a do-it-yourself holiday camp. Here you can live the communal camp life, or fend for yourself, according to your mood. There are several of these centres on the island. This one has been built up on the site of an old military fort, known as one of Palmerston's Follies. It was originally a gun site 100 years ago. Oldest and least changed of all the island's industries is farming. Albert Flux farms 400 acres, only a few miles from where he was born. Flux, Mew, Squib, Yelf, Bucket, Chiverton. These are but some of the old island surnames. The names not of the overners who've come over to settle down, but of the old farming families who've been there for generations. Even today, there are nearly 1,000 registered holdings on the island. The oldest islander of all is Fred Yelf. He's 105, born when Queen Victoria was almost young. When he was a boy, Osborne House was one of the favourite royal residences. The widowed queen spent most of her lonely years there, surrounded by mementos of her prince consort. And here she died, leaving history behind her, the most distinguished overner of them all. Carisbrooke Castle is the island's other great link with the pageant of the past. These days, nearly 200,000 people visit it every year. But Fred Yelf knew it when the governor of the island actually lived there. Today, what was the governor's house contains a museum. Now, once again, the governor's standard flies over Carisbrooke. And once more, Britain remembers the long associations between the Isle of Wight and the throne. For the Queen has appointed Earl Mountbatten of Burma, former Chief of Britain's Defence Staff, as governor. And to install him in office, she paid a personal visit to the island that has such close links with her family.
In view of this long and close connection extending over nearly 700 years between the Crown and the Isle of Wight, I am very glad indeed to install the new governor in person.
So, retiring from a brilliant career, Lord Mountbatten adds to his many honours. He becomes governor of the island that has been called England in miniature.
Your Majesty, the honour of being appointed as governor of the Isle of Wight is very greatly intensified by Your Majesty graciously deciding to carry out the installation ceremony in person. I'm sure that the people of the Isle of Wight appreciate this mark of your personal interest in the island, coupled with your decision to visit Newport, Carisbrooke, West and East Cowes, Sandown, Shanklin and Yarmouth.
Holidaymakers watch the ceremony from battlements that date back through the centuries. The ancient Romans knew this island and called it Vectis. Aptly, the Queen decided to end her visit to the Isle of Wight by leaving in a hovercraft. Thus she made her first journey in this ultra-modern type of transport. So too, 1,000 or more overners take their first trip on it every day as they come over from the mainland during the holiday season. More perhaps than any other product, the hovercraft represents the skill and imagination of the island, for it was invented by an island man, Christopher Cockerell, and is built by island industry. It's fitting that it should carry the Queen home to the mainland from the island, which today has a new pride.